My first question is, what made you decide to run for governor? Was there a specific moment that it became clear this is what I'm going to do, or was it more of a gradual process? And we'll just start from whoever wants to go first.
I'll go first, because I was the first one to decide. Is this, there's
No? It's on. This is an easy question because I remember so clearly the moment I decided to run for governor in 2010, and that was the minute that Tim Pawlenty was declared the winner of the last gubernatorial election. I had at that point served 3 4-year terms as Ramsey County Attorney, had a great deal of experience making tough decisions as an executive, and felt like, come on, Democrats, let's nominate someone who can win. And having, of course, recently the experience of watching Amy Klobuchar very successfully reach out to swing voters across this state, knowing that it's swing voters that are going to decide the election in 2010 for governor, and that my profile would be a profile that they would respond to, I decided then and there to run for governor. I mentioned it to my kids. They started inventing the negative advertising that would be run against me. Nothing like teenage daughters to keep you humble. But nonetheless, I pressed on and continue to be running and running hard.
I decided late November, early December to run for governor again. I've been doing the Senate for 23 years now. I think I've known a lot of you over a lot of years. We've always been on the same side, I'm sure. Sometimes I have been.
Where's that one time?
One time. I decided to run based on a belief in the need for bold change in the way we do healthcare. I have got a passionate agenda on a lot of issues, but healthcare is the one that I've heard too many stories, too many problems with people struggling to afford healthcare, too many people who are losing their quality of life, even losing their lives over healthcare. And I think healthcare ought to be a right. I think it ought to be a right like every other public service, every other public good, police and fire. I told the story enough that these guys are tired of hearing it. But if you compare it to police and fire, if you go home tonight and you find your home's being burglarized, you call 911, you don't have to qualify. Police dispatcher doesn't ask, do you have police insurance? Does your policy cover home burglary? And they don't investigate whether you have pre-existing conditions to turn you down. They cover you. They try and arrest the perpetrator, they try and help you out. I think healthcare is that important. And I actually believe we could make this happen. Our Minnesota Health Plan, which does cover everyone cradle to grave for all their medical needs, we believe it'll save money. While the research is committed to doing a $350,000 research study on the cost of it, we've got 71 co-authors. Passed it through the Insurance-Friendly Commerce Committee. But it's not going to happen. I think you all recognize it's not likely to happen. If we don't have somebody in the governor's office who's going to fight and fight and fight very hard for it. I do fight hard. I've won some fights. I've lost some fights. Some of you have had a say in some of those fights. But I'm running because I think we can change the way we do things in government. Healthcare is one good example of it, and this chief issue I'm running on. That's the reason I decided.
So as Sarah said, I'm now teaching at the Humphrey Institute of Public Affairs, and it's, with me it was a gradual process. I know you get out to certain things and bump into, for me it was bumping into teachers who said, you know, what are you up to, and I hope you'll run again, and things like that. And then I was teaching a class, and it's been a lot of fun teaching, and it's a question my wife kept putting to me, which was, gee, don't you really enjoy teaching, and wouldn't you like to keep doing that kind of thing? But I was, it was the beginning of the fall semester in 2009 in this one class, Science and State, where I asked my students why they were there, what brought them to the Humphrey Institute, why this class. And the answer, each one said something like, I'm here because I want to do something about climate change, and I wanted to learn how I could be effective at that, or I wanted to do something to protect the environment, or we've got challenges with respect to how we're going to feed people. And everyone had a slightly different reason, but it was all around how do I get the skills so I can actually make the world a better place. So it's a terrific opportunity to get a chance to teach those students those skills, but I was sitting there thinking, man, it'd be so much easier for them if they had a partner in the governor's office who actually believed in what they were trying to do and would help make that happen. So that was, I think, a key step for me. And then, I have to do this because I've been doing it everywhere else, and John and Susan would be disappointed if they didn't hear it one more time. But the other, this semester, the spring semester, I taught public budgeting with Tim Penny, and it was a perfect opportunity to test out challenges in both state and federal budgeting issues with the huge issues that the state faced. And I thought about inviting Tim Penny to take the class. But I didn't send him the invitation because I really hate flunking students. And so, if I had any doubts at all, this spring made me convinced that I really needed to run because we needed somebody who would take the long-term view of Minnesota's future into account.